Watkins, and today I'm going to talk about a lawsuit being filed against Shaquille O'Neal, Tom Brady, Steph Curry, and a lot of other people who got wrapped up in this major problem, this major scandal that involved a company called FTX and a billionaire, former billionaire by the name of Sam Bankman-Fried. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Good morning. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black wealth and Black economics every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day under one condition. The condition is that we are Black first. Black first means we put our community at the top of our priority list. Black first means that we educate our kids. Black first means that we believe in Black people being the most economically intelligent people on the planet. You're not, the Jewish people are not better than you, so stop believing that. Black first also means that we believe in the be one philosophy, which means we must be one to be successful. That means be one with yourself, be one with your culture, be one with your family. That's how you can succeed in life, in my opinion. So anyway, shout out the city that you're from. Everybody tell me what city you're from. I see El Hodge and Karen and Robert James. I want to say good morning from Akola. I see Cleveland, Winston-Salem, and Elijah Cox. Good to see you. And Leroy Dawson, Michael Watkins. What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are doing well. Now, so as we get started, first thing I want to say really quickly is I want to warn everybody, if you get a message from someone that looks like me saying inbox me or here's my crypto I'm selling to you, I need you to know that that's not me. That is not me. I do not have a WhatsApp that you can call to learn about crypto that I'm going to sell to you. And I have to warn you of that because there are lots of scammers out there that take advantage of people when they get a big platform. We have a few million people that follow us here, and unfortunately, they take advantage of people. So if you see those accounts, please report them because they're fraudulent. And speaking of fraudulent, there's a company called FTX. FTX is a big crypto trading platform, or it was, and they were really doing some big things. How many of you knew about FTX? Give me a yes in the chat if you heard about FTX, or if you've heard the name Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam Bankman-Fried is this really squirrely, weird-looking white boy who was apparently pretty smart. I mean, he was able to be a billionaire at the age of 30 years old or something like that. He was actually born in 1992. When you're my age, 1992, that's hilarious because I remember 92. It was a good year. And so Sam Bankman-Fried was this young genius who went to MIT and everything else. I believe that's where he went to school. And everyone kind of gave him a lot of credit for being just one of the smartest guys in crypto. Even I thought that maybe he'd figured a few things out because when everybody else was crashing and burning, he wasn't. He was actually able to go in and make acquisitions of failed companies during the latest crypto winter, which is a really big deal. In case you don't know, it's during crashes and when the market breaks down that a lot of people make a lot of money, right? So like Warren Buffett has made tens of billions of dollars during the worst economic times. And I'm going to show you guys a picture of Sam Bankman-Fried. There's his picture. I told you he's a squirrely looking white boy. He's kind of weird looking, he's got that crazy hair. And so Sam Bankman-Fried ran FTX and he looked like he was doing really well. And it turned out that he wasn't. The company ends up going bankrupt. And in fact, I'll give you a little background on Sam Bankman-Fried, and then I'm going to explain to you why Shaquille O'Neal, Steph Curry, Tom Brady, and all these other celebrities are being dragged into court with him. So according to the Wikipedia page, they state Sam Bankman-Fried was born March 6, 1992. So he's 30 years old. He's the founder and former CEO of FTX, a cryptocurrency exchange. FTX.US, its U.S. affiliate, and Alameda Research, a quantitative cryptocurrency trading firm. FTX experienced a solvency crisis in late 2022, which led to a collapse of FTX's native currency, FTT. Amid the crisis, Bankman-Fried announced that he would wind down operations at Alameda Research and resign as CEO of FTX, which filed for Chapter 11. They don't finish the story, which could end with him going to jail or something because this guy, he's in a lot of trouble. A lot of people are really mad at him, as they should be. He lost a ton of money. They said his net worth peaked at $26 billion. In October 2022, he had an estimated net worth of $10.5 billion. However, on November 8th, 2022, Amid FTX's solvency crisis, his net worth was estimated to have dropped 94% in a day to $991.5 million, according to Bloomberg's Billionaires Index, the largest one-day drop in the index's history. By November 11, 2022, the Bloomberg Billionaires Index considered Bankman-Fried to have no material wealth. So this guy went from having $26 billion in net worth to literally having less money than every single person in this podcast. Literally, congratulate yourselves because right now you are richer than the white boy that's on the screen. and just a month ago, you would have been happy to be friends with him. You'd have been excited about doing business with him because he was worth $26 billion. Now you have more money than him. He would have to borrow money from you if he wanted to make a trip to McDonald's, theoretically speaking. So Sam Bankman-Fried apparently, took some risks that were unnecessary and drove the company into the ground. And he's been vilified. And as a result of that, a lot of people are getting hurt. And what's interesting to me now, of course, I took great interest in this because when I was working on my PhD, it's so funny. There was an article somebody wrote where they quoted me, and they quoted me as a former academic or an ex-professor. I'm not a former academic. I'm still an academic. Once you get a PhD, you have the PhD for life. So I'm always an academic. I'm not a former professor. I'm more of a professor than I've ever been because I teach more people than I've ever taught in my life. So someone writes an article about me. Don't use X. Don't use former. I ain't X nothing. I'm currently a professor. I'm currently an academic. I just teach my own people now. I used to teach, a lot of white and Jewish and Asian kids at Syracuse University, and they were very nice people. But now I teach Black people. What's more important on this earth than to be a professor teaching Black people? Can you tell me a more important role I could take as a professor? I can't think of one. So I want to just throw that out there. But with that said, when I was working on my doctoral work, I remember one of the things I spent a lot of time studying, I worked under this guy named René Stoltz. René Stoltz is at The Ohio State University. He makes millions of dollars a year. I think he's one of the highest paid people in the entire faculty there because he's one of the world's leading experts in risk management. He's one of the world's leading experts in spotting and identifying situations just like this. He's like the doctor that can spot the cancer before it becomes terminal. And so what I'm really thinking about when I see this whole situation is that this was a big issue because this didn't just affect Sam Bankman-Fried or just affect his company. This affected the credibility of the entire industry. It affected everything. It was like, to find out that Sam Bankman-Fried was going bankrupt is like finding out that Michael Jordan doesn't know how to play basketball, or that LeBron James can't dribble and can't shoot. And he was never a good basketball player. We just thought that he was. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. If LeBron sucks, then what does that say about everybody else who's on the court with him? And so Sam Bankman-Fried was kind of the poster child for crypto. He was the guy that was carrying the banner for crypto in the middle of the crypto winter. He was going around and he was rescuing companies. He was positioning himself as the unofficial Federal Reserve of the crypto industry. So you got to understand the gravity of FTX going down. The gravity is, imagine if the Federal Reserve goes bankrupt. That's different from Merrill Lynch going bankrupt. Like, that's one company in the middle of an ecosystem. It's another thing when the leader of the ecosystem, the savior of the ecosystem, goes down. So Bankman-Fried is taking down a lot of people with him. And it's interesting to observe because another guy that I worked with, he was actually the chair of my dissertation committee. His name was Andrew Caroli, Professor Andrew Caroli. He's at Cornell University now. And now his expertise really complemented René Stoltz in the sense that while René was an expert on risk management, Andrew was an expert on financial contagion. Financial contagion works just like a virus. Achoo, I sneeze, you get sick, everybody else gets sick, and the virus spreads. Well, in this particular case with FTX, this was a horrific example of extreme financial contagion because FTX was a super spreader. FTX going bankrupt is like a good-looking man with a terrible STD who that everybody was trying to have sex with. Everybody in the crypto industry was raw dogging with FTX. Go look it up. Everybody wanted, because there's another phenomenon going on here. This was another person on my dissertation committee. His name was David Hirschleifer. David Hirschleifer his area of expertise was herding, financial herding, that investors behave like sheep. So what happens is a lot of CEOs and a lot of company leaders and a lot of fund managers, they just follow the crowd. They follow the crowd. So while FTX is the handsome guy with the horrible STD, the financial STD, I wrote about financial STDs in my book, Financial Lovemaking. If you ever want to see like some weird analogies to help you understand economics, Financial Lovemaking might be a fun book to read if you want to read it. It's on Amazon somewhere. But so you've got this handsome man with a horrible STD that everybody wants to have sex with. And so he's Nick Cannon. He's getting everybody pregnant. Everybody's getting pregnant with these little infected babies. And then suddenly you find out that this dude was Magic Johnson, that he didn't just have the disease that was hidden, but he was giving it to everybody. And because of the herding effect, every company wanted to date FTX. Every company wanted to get in bed with FTX. All these like major players in the financial industry, I'm talking about established players with stellar reputations, were like, I want a piece of that. I want a piece of that. All these celebrities were getting on board. I want a piece of that. Shaquille O'Neal, I want a piece of that. Tom Brady, I want a piece of that. They're naming sports arenas out there. I want a piece of that. Everybody wanted a piece of FTX. So the FTX bankruptcy is a crazy example of financial contagion because, Lord Jesus, they literally were connected to everybody. Everybody. I mean, if there has ever been, let me just say this, there's never been an event in the history of crypto that has been a greater threat to the existence of crypto. Like, this is an existential sort of calamity here. It's just so many people are connected. And the thing is, now that FTX has gone down, everybody's like lying about it. They're like, I ain't slept with him. I would never mess with nobody like that. I'm smarter than that. But then they secretly go into the doctor to go get a checkup. They're like, damn, do I got it too? Right? And this is funny, because I'm going too far with my analogies, but I don't know. I hope it helps. I hope it helps you understand it. This is how weird I am. I just see things in different ways. But I remember when Magic Johnson, made the announcement that he actually did have that disease. And a lot of people were thinking about Magic, like, poor Magic. This is sad for Magic and his family. Poor Cookie, right? Because we know Cookie was laying down with Magic. Cookie is Magic's wife. But then there were other people who were thinking, like, what about all the women Magic slept with? All those people Magic slept with, they're all in the community. They're all spreading things, right? And then there were NBA players who said, man, when I found out that Magic, had the virus, I just stopped at the side of the road and I just cried and cried and cried. And my friend made a joke. He said, I think the reason that they're crying is because they were all sleeping with the same women. And so I don't know how true that is one way or the other, but that's the issue here with FTX. FTX going down is one thing, but FTX going down was huge because FTX was becoming something that no crypto company had ever become. They were becoming the champions and the poster children of all of crypto. Sam Bankman-Fried was the Michael Jordan of the crypto industry. So he wasn't just a regular player. He was the player. He was becoming the Federal Reserve. He was becoming the JP Morgan. So what's really interesting to me, and let's speak first. First, let's speak about these lawsuits. Okay. And before we do that, if you could you please take one moment, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Please make sure you hit the notification bell. The notification bell is really important when you subscribe because that's the only way I can connect with you. Because sometimes you talk a little bit extra black and your channel gets shadow banned and all that. So if you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified. Another backup way for us to connect is for you to text me. Text the word Boyce to 31996. If you text Boyce to 31996, I won't bother you much, but I will let you know when we have something going on that you might want to be a part of, or whatever the case may be. You'll be invited into our family. We love educating our people on wealth. And you ain't got to be black to be here. But I am black first. All right. So let's go to the celebrity lawsuits. So Tom Brady, Shaquille O'Neal, Steph Curry, Naomi Osaka, and a few others are all connected to FTX. Again, because everybody wanted to sleep with FTX. Everybody wanted to get in bed with FTX. So all these celebrities were getting massive amounts of money, massive amounts of equity in FTX. I imagine Tom Brady's pretty pissed off. Tom Brady's one of my favorite football players. I just love, I'm sorry, y'all might get mad because he's white, but Tom Brady's a bad boy. I mean, if you're a football fan, you got to be a fan of Tom Brady and his accomplishments. And so Brady, he's probably pissed off for two reasons. One, he's getting a divorce. That right there is going to eat a big chunk of his wealth, maybe half of it. And then on top of that, he's got this FTX debacle. And from what I understand, there are claims that he and his wife had hundreds of millions of dollars tied up into FTX. So a lot of money got lost. And my heart goes out to all the people that put their money on this exchange. A lot of that money isn't coming back because allegedly Sam Bankman-Fried was using investor deposits in order to go make his own investments and whatever in Alameda Research, another company he had that was connected to FTX. That's a big problem. That's where I wonder if someone's going to send him to jail for that. At the very least, somebody's going to catch him on the street and beat his ass because some people lost everything. Now, here's what I want to warn you guys about. Look, here's the deal. You'll never hear about me losing all my net worth because one company went down. You'll never hear about that. The reason you'll never hear about that is because I don't put all my money on one exchange. You don't do that, especially, my Lord, especially not in the world of crypto. What I see in crypto, and I'm going to sound like an old man when I say FTX. What does FTX stand for? Let me see. Yeah, that's a good question. Somebody asked that question. Let me look it up. I don't know. Let me see. What does FTX stand for? FTX stands for. Oh, it's just futures exchange. Okay, there we go. All right, so all right, so there, that's what FTX stands for. All right, so so the reason you'll never hear about me losing all my money because one company went bankrupt is because one of the most fundamental rules of investing is that you have to spread your money out. You never ever put all your money in one place. You definitely don't put your money in one company. You don't put your money in one industry. You don't put your money in one asset class. You don't put your money on one exchange. I keep my money on several different exchanges because if the technology goes south, if there's a hacker that breaks in and steals all the money, then my money's gone or my money's tied up in court. I don't even put all my money in one bank. And I know if banks have FDIC protection, which crypto exchanges do not. And so effectively what I see with the FTX situation as well is, even though I just want to go like beat this kid up for like being so silly and getting ahead of himself, it wasn't completely his fault in the sense that what basically happened is that you found out the emperor had no clothes because somebody forced the emperor to go outside with naked. Like it's like you're in the water and below the water, everyone says I have a three-piece suit on underneath this water. Well, somebody basically pulled the water down and it showed that they didn't have the clothes on, and then suddenly everyone lost faith in this company. Now, do I think that it's a good or bad thing? I don't know. It's life. It's how things work, right? But at the same time, I think that had Sam Bankman-Fried and his investments not been questioned publicly by the head of a rival company called Binance, I don't think any of this would have happened. But this really also reveals the fundamental fragility of crypto. A lot of crypto is driven heavily by investor perception. It's driven heavily by trust, and that trust is fragile in a fragile economy. In this economy, trust is a really hard commodity to hold on to. And once it's gone, then wealth disappears. And in fact, in the Black community, part of the reason our wealth is not what it needs to be is because we don't have trust. Because you have to trust somebody to give them your money. You got to trust somebody to hire them. You got to trust somebody to invest in them. You got to trust somebody to buy from them. You got to trust somebody even to make a product for them. If I'm a business owner and I make products for Black people, I got to trust that the consumers are going to support me. Do you understand what I mean? When we did the All Black National Convention, we had to invest a couple $100,000 to make that happen. I had to trust that my people are going to show up and have our back, right? Because if we throw out that money and nobody shows up, then guess what? We lose money, right? So ultimately, trust is huge. And in this crypto space, trust is not only important, but it's very fragile. And the biggest mistake I see from Sam Bankman-Fried and others is that sometimes greed and arrogance can cause you to overplay your hand. There's no reason on this damn earth that they should have had all that leverage in an industry that is this fragile and the trust can be broken so quickly. There's no way. And even beyond that, the people that gave them the debt, they didn't do their due diligence. They all basically behaved like sheep. They followed the crowd. All these big name investors loaned their credibility to FTX because they were basically investing in the company because everybody else is doing it. They were basically that person who literally should have said to the, before you lay down to sleep with somebody, I need a STD test. I need your STD results to see if you're clean. But you slept with that person because the 5 people before you all told you that person was clean, and you didn't do your own due diligence. You leaned on the alleged due diligence of other people that they weren't doing either. Somebody missed the fact, seriously, if somebody had gone through carefully and really looked in detail, and somebody eventually did that, by the way, that's what cracked everything. If somebody had looked at FTX's finance in extreme detail and done their due diligence, none of this would have occurred. They would have said, no, this is too risky. We're not allocating our capital in that direction. This is not, because if things go wrong, this could go bad. But instead, sometimes greed and arrogance can drive you to go a little too far. So to me, what can occur, I can imagine, again, I'm not 30, I'm 51. If I were a 30-year-old billionaire, it would be very easy for me to falsely believe that I can do no wrong. It would be, if I'm a 30-year-old billionaire who's never really seen any significant economic slump, who's never seen the whole world crash and burn right before me, then it's very easy for me to think that my shit don't stink, that everything I do is going to turn to gold and I'm always going to win. I cannot lose. And I'll tell you what, with Tom Brady being one of the guys named in this lawsuit, if you watch Tom Brady long enough, you know that there are some days where Tom Brady has a bad game. He doesn't go on the field and win every single game. He's always preparing and playing to prevent losing the game, right? Because he knows he can lose, and I think that with Sam Bankman-Fried, I wonder if this was a young guy who just thought he could never lose, because $26 billion is a lot of money. And I'm going to tell you what, if I had that kind of wealth at his stage, not to armchair quarterback it, but number one, I think all that leverage was insane. Just because people are willing to loan you money doesn't mean you need to take it. Number two, I would have gotten as much of my money out of crypto as I possibly could. I would have been buying real estate, which is a much more stable investment. I would have been buying stocks in Fortune 500 companies. I would have and that's what I thought he did. That's why I thought that he was able to withstand the crypto winter a little bit better than everyone else, because I said, okay, here's a guy who seems to get it. He seems like a guy that didn't go into excessive greed. He didn't over leverage. He didn't under diversify and put all of his money into crypto. He's not that stupid. He's smart. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say he's just dumb and crazy and stupid, but I am going to say that he took some risk that is going to cost him for the rest of his life. He may end up going to jail. He hurt a lot of people. And now you're going to see a ton of regulation in crypto, which is going to be very good for crypto. If you want to know what I'm doing, I'm buying lots of Bitcoin, because I believe that eventually when the dust settles, the whole industry is going to be much more stable than it was before, right? So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Thursday night, we're doing the second week of our options training camp, stock options training camp. Everything from the previous week is recorded, so you can have all of that. So it's not too late to join us. If you'd like to learn about stock options and how to make it work for you, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing the stock options training camp. You can go to boycewatkins.com if you'd like to see that, or if you're on Instagram, you hit the link in my bio. And also this weekend, Michelle Walker Davis is an expert on writing grants and getting government contracts, which can be huge. Like, they can literally change your life overnight if you get the right government contract, or if your 501c3 gets a grant, or they even have grants for businesses too. So if that's of interest to you and you want to learn how to break through all of that, then you can actually go to boycewatkins.com. That's the 19th and 20th. And somebody just reminded me that today is Thursday. So actually it's tonight. So sorry, I said tomorrow. I meant to say tonight. My apologies for that. Okay, let me see. I saw somebody said, how liquid is crypto? I think crypto is as liquid as you make it out to be. One of the problems with DeFi and everything else, in my opinion, is that you have companies operating as banks, but they don't have the experience nor the capitalization to actually be well-functioning banks. See, what's happening in crypto, in my view, is nothing but a repeat of what's already happened in the U.S. economy. This is a reminder of things that happened in the broader economy during the Great Depression. So after the Great Depression happened, they came back and said, how do we create trust in the system? That's when they developed, the Federal Reserve as a lender of last resort. That's when they developed things like FDIC protection. They put those things in place because they learned how important trust is to prevent a run on the bank. So ultimately, that's kind of what crypto doesn't have. So if you're going into the DeFi space and you're loaning out, you're staking your crypto and you're getting these really high interest rates, that right there should be a warning sign. Typically, when something seems too good to be true, it probably is. So when they're offering you these really insanely high rates of return, and the bank is only offering you like less than 1%. It's more now, right? Because the Fed has increased interest rates. But basically, you have to always ask yourself, where's the extra risk? Where's the risk? It's like if I get offered a job of taking a grocery bag down to somebody's house once a day, and I get $10,000 a week to do that job, I should be asking, what's the risk? What's in this bag? What are the worst things that can happen to me? If you don't ask those questions, then you're not thinking about the issues. Let's see. Somebody says, what do you think about DL Hughley's response to you? I have to go check it out. I don't pay much attention to guys who are employees of the Democratic Party. So no disrespect to DL. We got mutual friends, and I've known DL for a long time. But I don't dislike the guy. I think he's trying to do the right thing. But I personally am a believer that Black people don't have to be tied to any political party unconditionally. I think that if you want to vote Democrat or want to vote Republican, I think that it's your right. But I think that the best way to move forward economically as a people is for us to just not be pre-committed to any political party. Like, I think that we should say, I'll vote for whoever gives me the best deal. And I think that's the best approach. It's just like looking for a job. Like, why would you tell your employer, like, oh, I'll take the job, and they ain't even offered you the salary yet? You've turned down all your competitors, and they haven't even told you how much money you're going to make or how many hours you're going to work, but you commit to taking the job and throw away all your other options and opportunities. That don't make no sense. Give me a yes or no if you get what I'm saying. So no disrespect to DL, but, unfortunately, a lot of your most prominent Black people are connected to the Democratic Party. I think a lot of it comes into money's my thing. So I always look for the money. So a lot of individuals that run media outlets, they get paid big time when it's election season. And who's going to pay them, for advertising or to have certain people on their platforms? Well, it's going to be the Democrats, right? So the Democrats show up with a big bag of money. That's where all that money goes. Most of the money, the billions that they raise to run for office, most of that money goes to advertise, or a lot of it goes to advertising anyway. So if you're running a struggling Black media outlet and you need money, to pay your bills, and the Democrats show up with a big old bag of money like Santa Claus, why wouldn't you want to take that money? I mean, I get it. I understand. But I think that it needs to be sort of revealed and understood so you can kind of take their words with a grain of salt. I've talked to rappers that told me that they went on certain shows and they were told that they can't mention anything other than the Democratic candidate. That if they even mentioned Bernie Sanders back when Bernie was running, that one guy said they told me that if you even say the words Bernie Sanders, we're going to take you off the air. I don't think that that's fair. I think that I think you do your best for other people. The best way someone can serve you is by allowing you access to all the information that allows you to make an informed decision. So that's my 2 cents. That's where we ideologically disagree. But I don't think he's all bad. I don't think he's a dumb guy. I just, I'm just not, I'm not here to be a cheerleader for any political party. So I'm a cheerleader for you. All right. So in terms of these lawsuits with Shaq and what was it? Shaq, Tom Brady, Naomi Osaka, and there are a few others. Larry David, the creator of Seinfeld. And there's a lot of others in there. I remember Floyd Mayweather and Kim Kardashian were fined for promoting the crypto. I think that what's going on here, and I'm wondering how they're going to regulate this, but there is a big issue where you have so many cryptos out here that are just absolute garbage, right? So, in fact, there are 12,100 different cryptocurrencies that have been technically defined as zombie coins. And these are coins that have no inherent value. There's no ecosystem around the coins or anything. It's just all hype. So if you have a zombie coin and you're dealing with a society where financial literacy isn't necessarily the highest priority, and people tend to follow celebrities, then the easy trade is to create a coin, right? And you create, 1 billion units or 10 billion units of this coin. And then you put them out on the open market for a quarter, 25 cents a piece. And you keep 90% of the coins for yourself, right? So they're 25 cents a piece. You got 10 billion. That's $2.5 billion that was created out of thin air. So then what you got to do is you got to get people to believe in this coin. So what's the best way to do that? Well, if I've got a little bit of money, I can go to a Kim Kardashian who will let me pay her $100,000 to tweet something out to, 100 million people. And I say, okay, Kim, here's 100K, tweet out this coin and say, I think this coin's a good investment. Then what happens is she tweets it out. Next thing you know, a bunch of people, they inject real value into the coin because they're all going out and buying this coin for 25 cents a piece. So suddenly the coin's market value is 25 cents or higher. And guess what? You've got 90% of the coins. So you literally become a billionaire overnight because you've got a couple $1 billion worth of coins that were worthless before Kim Kardashian and her audience breathed life into the coins. So a lot of times the magic of economics, the scary thing about money, and this is actually to some extent kind of true for fiat currency too. Fiat currency is not that far apart from cryptocurrency, but there are subtle differences that kind of just sort of make one safer than the other. But basically, things become real when you believe in them. In Peter Pan, when they asked Tinkerbell, "Are fairies real?" She said, "Fairies are real if you believe that they're real." Fairies are real if you believe that they're real. If you don't believe that they're real, then they're not. Right? So and that's literally it. Perception is reality in economics. And that's something you have to be really careful. That's why, when we talk about economics in the Black Business School, I love to incorporate things like perception, psychology, emotionality, because that's a huge part of finance. That's what they call behavioral finance. That was when I wrote my dissertation. I wrote it on financial psychology, behavioral finance, stuff like that. A lot of our human behaviors play a big role in how economics works. And the thing is that the reason you want to regulate, modify, and be very conscious of your own behavior and your own processing is because if you have the wrong behavior, like for example, if you herd like sheep, then guess what? People spot that. People that are conscious spot that. It's like being at a party. If everybody's drunk except me, then I have a huge advantage over the drunk people. If I'm there, if I'm a predator and my goal is to get something out of you, you're a pretty girl and I want to sleep with you, and I know you're drinking, and I'm not drinking anything, then I know what's going on and you don't. Well, that automatically creates an imbalance of power in my favor, right? Or if I'm trying to get your money, there are people that, why do you think casinos serve so much liquor and they give you the liquor for free? If you get drunk, are you going to tend to gamble more or gamble less? If you're drunk in the casino, are you going to be more careful with your money, or are you going to just make it rain and throw it around? See, so financial consciousness, financial awareness is really important. Financial psychology is extremely important. My wife is a therapist, and one thing that she does for the students in our Prime program, which you can feel free to join, just go to my website, boycewatkins.com, or you can go to drboyceprime.com. This Sunday, she's doing a session on financial therapy. Every week we do financial therapy, because if you get your mind right, then your money will be right. But if your mind's wrong, your money's going to stay wrong. And a lot of you were raised in an environment where the money mindset was wrong. Don't believe me? Go look back on the economic nonsense that you saw happening when you were a kid, and ask yourself, did this actually end up good, or did this create chaos, stress, unhappiness, and trauma? So it's time to grow up. So in this particular case with the crypto, I'm not going to sit back and say everybody was stupid. I don't think Sam Bankman-Fried is a dummy. I think that Sam Bankman-Fried had a risk that he was not aware of per se. And I just don't understand how on earth you can have such a fragile industry with so much leverage. I just don't get that part. And also, I encourage you, and when it comes to economics, I just believe that you really want to rethink capitalism and your commitment to being a hardcore capitalist, because capitalism is what drives a lot of greed. Again, think about it. If you can make $1 billion a year and stay completely safe, why are you leveraging up trying to make 10 billion a year? Seriously. I mean, you're already big. Why do you got to have the biggest, your junk is big in the bedroom. Why you got to have the biggest junk on the block? Why you got to be the king of the block? If you're making $1 billion a year and you're safe, super safe, no leverage, no nothing, what makes you feel like you got to scale up? Why do you need an extra $9 billion? No, you don't. You don't need more than $1 billion. So ultimately, that's what capitalism does. So capitalism makes us want our company to be the biggest company and the biggest whatever. I say leave that alone, man. Find your financial freedom, find your bliss, find your happiness, find your safe space, and then at that point you can stick right there. So let me see. Howard says, Kanye said, wait till I get my money right before he exercises his plan to cancel his unfair business contracts within the industries. Yeah. Kanye and I talked for a long time about that stuff with Adidas and everything. And I'm going to be honest with you. I hope Kanye doesn't mind me saying this, but I don't agree with him pushing the issue as far as he did. I think that Kanye wasn't mad at all Jewish people. I'm going to say it like that. I think he was mad at certain people he'd done business with, or people that were maybe controlling the music industry. I'm mad at those same people, and I think you could have said it in a way where you take on the vultures in the music industry. I mean, Dame Dash has talked about this for a long time. But if you say it wrong, then every Jewish person on the planet is going to think that you hate them. And I don't think Kanye hates all people who are from a certain ethnicity. I think that he was mad at certain people, and I think that the amount of money he was making from Adidas, $250 million a year is a lot of money. I mean, that's $20 million a month, you know. And what I would love is I wish I had $20 million a month to go and build Black-owned schools all across this country. You know, I don't get me wrong. I understand. I know, you know, yeah, we are, sure, we're the original children of Israel and everything else. I believe that. I think that there's some merit to that whole argument, but I'm not going to throw away $250 million a year to make that point. You know, there's too much important work to do. And I think that we've got to get out of the whole chest thumping mode where it's like, I'm going to throw it all away just to make a point to you, just to prove to you that you can't control what I say, and actually just start doing the damn work. Who cares what people think about you? Who cares if you're the original Jews and they don't think you are? I don't care. I want to go build schools for our kids. I want to build businesses in the Black community. I want to see Black people win. I want to see my loved ones doing well. You know, that's what I want. You know, I don't necessarily care a whole lot about. Sorry, hold on. I don't necessarily wake up in the morning feeling like I need to go and fight other groups of people. I just want to love myself and love the people around me, man. That's you know, I mean, that's so I'll just honestly say I don't agree with Kanye letting go of the Adidas deal, because he's the only guy that can get that deal. He's the only guy that can sell $1.7 billion worth of shoes. Adidas didn't want to end the deal. Adidas, they needed him. Their stock price dropped by 50% when they cut Kanye out of there. And so they didn't want to let him go either. You know, they were like, dang, come on, let's figure this out. You know, so I don't know. I kind of feel like it's a lost opportunity. But then again, maybe he can get somebody else to make his shoes and distribute them and all that. And that's a lot of work. It takes a big team to do that. So maybe he's the one that has it right. But I personally would love to have just a fraction of that money, because I'd like to go and fund a lot of these Black-owned schools out here that are doing great work, that need money. Like, and I think with our celebrities, I think we need to challenge our celebrities. Like, don't run your mouth, write a check. Don't tell me how Black you are, write a check. That's all that matters. Like, write a check, do something. Don't go spend $5 million on a sports car and then not be willing to give $5 million to a Black-owned school or to your own community. Or you write a check for 50 grand to Black people to do the most important work in our community, but yet you're going to go give a bunch of money to European fashion designers or whatever who don't even like you. So that's it. Let's see, Boyce, to date, you funded one school. I might have funded Uhuru Academy, but I've actually funded several schools. The schools I've donated to, and it's not a lot, it's a few $1,000s though. I gave a few $1,000s to Freedom Home Academy International in Chicago, run by Marcus Klein, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I wrote a $3,000 check to what's that school down in Georgia, King Randall School. It was called the X School for Boys, but now it's called something else. And there are a few other schools that I've supported in different ways. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's what I believe. But it's no disrespect on anybody. I don't want anybody to think it's Kanye's money. It's his deal. He can do what he wants with it. But I still honestly feel like I wish that the price wasn't so high. That's what I'll just say. I wish that the price wasn't so high. All right. So anyway, if you could do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you hit the notification bell when you subscribe so that you'll be notified. If you want to join us for the stock options training camp tonight at 8 p.m., you can go to boycewatkins.com. The link is right there, or hit the link in the bio if you're on Instagram. Or if this weekend, Michelle Walker Davis, she's doing the 2-day conference. I'll be there on getting government grants and government contracts. If that's something that you've always wanted to do, she is the person that can show you, because she's done that to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. So these are the kinds of people we partner with in the Black Business School, and we got your back. All right, guys. So please have a great day. God bless you. Thank you for listening. And I will come back a little bit later. I'll see you soon. Take care now. Peace.